What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another F124 My Team Career Mode video. Today, round 20, Mexico City. I love this track. It can be tricky at times, especially with all the kind of sausage curbs on the inside of corners, the apexes. But we're going to give it our best go. Again, this long straight into turn 1, longest on the F1 calendar, from what I know. It's going to be playing into our hands a lot with our engine power that we have over every other team on the grid. Braking hard at the 125 meter board, turning in slowly, try not to lock up any of the fronts. A little bit deep in there, but did kind of recover it well for that second apex and a decent exit. Obviously battery on throughout the first sector, with the exception of the turn 1 and turn 2. Braking just before the 100 meters, turning it in nicely that time, and going a little bit wide, not quite hitting the apex there, into turn 5 and the double right-hander. Again, all out of sorts in that little section, sort of mini sector that we had there. And now for the very high speed flowing section, in a way. Again, you've got to get your line right through here or you're going to lose a lot of time. And it looks like we did okay there. I think the first sector, going into the second sector, let us down a little bit. But into sector 3 now, pretty much maxes on the minimum speed you can go through there. A little anti-Monaco hairpin. It's kind of like Monaco. And a little bit too much speed scrubbed off for the final corner. Mark saying we dropped to P20. We go to P6 provisionally. And if you haven't subscribed, please do so. Keep up to date with all of the videos. But here we go for our second lap in Q1. We have dropped all the way down to P18. Only a handful of cars behind us. And again, we've got to dump a bit of the battery. We did lose a little bit of time in the straight because we were trying to reserve a little bit more battery for later in the lap to really get the most out of these new tyres towards the latter stages of the sectors. Pretty decent couple of corners there. First chicane, almost a tenth up on the time. Running down here again, braking just before the 100 meters. Can we get it turned in nicely? We do. A little bit deep maybe there. We do carry that apex a little bit nicer. Maybe slow down a little bit too much on the minimum speed. We do have a purple sector 1, which is good news for us. 4 tenths gained now through here. We go massively deep. That's going to cost us a huge chunk of time, and it has cost us pretty much all of the time that we gained through the first sector of the lap. A pretty decent end to that section. A little bit of a back end stepping out moment, but overall keeping it in check. Another lock up there, trying to keep it on the track, and we've lost all of our time entirely. Green, middle sector. Again, we go deep. We're trying to overdrive this car too much. I don't think this is going to be enough. We're in P21 now. We're running up towards the line, taking the short run to the inside. And it's P18. P18. A better lap, but not good enough. And we're taking the reins from Crofty this time. We've got a Crofty filter at the bottom because I forgot to take the subs off. But we're here, Mexico City, 2024 Formula 1 season, in the stadium section that we're looking down on now. Beautiful section. A great track, favoured by many and a favourite of my own as well. A very nice flowing track with lots of high-speed straights. Obviously, 4.3 kilometers, 17 turns and 3 DRS zones. Only 2 detection points as you get a double dose of the DRS down the pitch straight and on the run down to turn 4. Speaking of turns, there's 17 of them, and who managed to master them yesterday to land on pole. Charles Leclerc with a 14.9, followed very closely by Fernando Alonso in the Aston Martin. Very good showing from him today. He has been doing quite well in the past few races. On the second row, we've got Russell and Sainz, followed closely by Verstappen and Piastri, Hamilton and Norris, and then Perez and Lance Stroll to finish up the top 10. Then it's Alpine, Gasly and Ocon, followed by Albon, Magnussen, Tsunoda, Hulkenberg in P16, followed by Zhou Guanyu, ourselves in P18, massive shock there. Ricciardo in P19, followed by Pourchaire, Bottas, and our teammate of Logan Sargent starting from the back of the grid. And now it's time to get those lights to go out.
If we don't want to be stuck near the back for most of the race, you're going to need to push early on. Good luck.
Indeed we are, Mark. We're going to have to push early on in this race. Previously, in the last race, we did a hard medium that served very well in the last few laps, just because of the fresher tyres, and the softer compound really helped us out to claim victory. If you haven't seen that, go check that out. Amazing race. I really enjoyed that one, and I hope that today will be just as enjoyable. We've got a lot to unpack, and you know, a lot of the pack to get through as well. I was thinking soft medium, but I think the tyres will just give up and leave us on the back foot. And as Mark was saying, we've got to get off to a good start early doors. We can't sit back in the first few laps and wait for their tyres to degrade to start making our way through, because if we don't get past the sort of 10 or so cars ahead of us in the first couple of laps, we're going to be losing touch with the leaders, which is not what we need and definitely not what we want. So I think it's going to be a medium hard strategy. Again, I was weighing up the softs. Could it be worth it for the sort of last sprint at the end? But I think we're going to have to go medium hard here. The strategy says medium soft, but I think we're probably going to go medium hard. We're going to see how the race strategy unfolds, though. See how well we can carve through this pack early doors, but it's all the lights are on. And now they're out as we go racing here in Mexico City. A pretty decent start, especially alongside Zhou Guanyu there. Hulkenberg is starting to slide off down the road. He's got a better start than us, at least a better phase one, but we're using all of our battery. And look at the engine power coming in clutch as we're going to go down the inside of about 6 or 7 cars, maybe a bit more, as we maybe greedily go down the inside of Esteban Ocon there and his Alpine teammate to make it 3 wide in that section. But overall, an amazing launch as we got up to P11 here. We're going to go down the inside of Perez and Stroll at the same time. Do we dare? Yeah, we ride the sausage curve a little bit. It's 3 wide still, I believe, so we're going to go very wide, take the outside racing line, and we get past both of them, leaving a little bit of space on the inside in case Stroll decided to absolutely dive bomb. Well, not even dive bomb, just send it. And now we are up to P9 in half a lap. What a result for the start for us. And we're on mediums as well, so we should be able to keep in touch of Lewis Hamilton and keep Perez behind us, who, yeah, we've got a big train at the moment. Hopefully this DRS train doesn't become too tricky for us to handle. I was thinking about sending it down the inside of Hamilton there. It would have been a bit of a dive bomb, but could have been worth it. As now we're just going to focus on our exit on the run down to turn 4. We don't have the DRS just yet, but we've got some battery left to play with. We're going to go to the outside as Hamilton goes defensive. We do take it the long way round, give him plenty of space on the inside, and now we're just going to cut him off completely on the racing line there. Next up, Piastri. What can we do? We don't have too much battery. We've actually lost DRS to Piastri crucially ahead of us, and Hamilton with the DRS, with a bit of his battery. We're trying to fight this a little bit, but it looks like he's going to get clean past us, so we'll just tuck in behind, hopefully let his DRS carry us back into DRS range of those ahead. There is a Ferrari running away out front. I'm going to assume that's Charles Leclerc based on him being on pole position, and now it is entirely just a game of let's get back in touching distance of the leaders. It does look like one of the cars up ahead may have an issue because they're a bit slower than you'd expect really at this stage of the race, and Hamilton's kind of catching up slowly but surely here on lap 5. Now we're going to get a bit of DRS here, a bit of slipstream. Hamilton does not have DRS, which is only going to help us out. We're going to use a bit of our battery here just to make the overtake nice and clean. We're going to the racing line, braking again. The 125 meter board, we do turn in quite early though, and we absolutely land on the sausage curbs every single time through that first chicane, and that was not the plan at all. But we did manage to make it back into the DRS range, as now we're looking at Oscar Piastri. We don't have much battery left, we've got 5% or less. So we're going to go round the outside of turn 1. We do take it a bit deep, carry the speed, and we make it safely through into P7 on lap 9. This is great progress for us from P18 on the grid. Keep that in mind. Keep a P18 on the grid in mind as our starting position. And now we've just got to, we're burning through our rears a little bit, courtesy of the heavy traction zones around this track. And now we have Piastri behind us, who's very excited to get ahead of us, and he's going to try and do so. We do have our battery on to try and fight this a little bit more, because we do have the DRS still to Russell, so that should kind of protect us a little bit. But with our engine power, there's just no touching us. There's no touching us. If we have enough battery, that is. If we have the battery and we have DRS, no one can touch us. If we don't have DRS, we can maybe fight it with our battery. But again, it's such a long run down into turn 1, as we almost saw what the back of that Mercedes tasted like of George Russell. That was not ideal. But we survive, we fight for another day. We did also defend successfully from Piastri in that case, because he was coming on the attack into turn 4. But now you can see we're just kind of bunched up, bottlenecked almost, behind the Mercedes of Russell, who is our rival, by the way, still. He obviously beat us in qualifying, as the first pitters are pitting. The first people are in the pits, basically. That puts us up to P3. There's Carlos Sainz in first now, Russell in second, and now ourselves in third. As now I think we're just going to box the end of this lap. We're not going to take risks and go for the softs. We're going to stay on our medium-hard strategy that I was mentioning at the start of this race. There's a lot of people that are going to be pitting this lap as well. Let's hope we come out in a good place. There is a lot of runners, though, that did pit before us. So we were in P6, I think. Something around there, and then we ended up in P3. So there's at least 3 that were ahead of us, and a bit of a slow stop just because of the unsafe release. We didn't want to, you know, leave the pit box and crash immediately into the McLaren that is just now ahead of us, and it's Oscar Piastri. We overtook him before. He got us back in the pits, which is totally fine. We've just got to stay in touch with the leaders. We've got our hards. We're all on the same strategy. Equal tyres. Maybe not equal engine. Thank you very much, team. We'll take that and run. But yeah, now it's all about what we can do from here. For the last 10 laps of this race, we're going to potentially, I thought we were going to look around the outside there. That would have been very risky. We go down the inside, though, in the very next corner. A little bit of a dive bomb in there. We do leave room on the exit for Piastri, but thankfully he backs out of that one. And yeah, getting all out of sorts over that curb on the inside just then, bottoming out during that high-speed S section, which is not what you want at all, because again, you're going pretty fast through there. It's a very high-speed section. If you bottom out the car at all, you're going to lose all your downforce. But now we're thinking about an attack on Sergio Perez. He goes to the inside. We're going to go back to the outside. Go deep, even. Not even just around the outside. Very deep. Ride the sausage curbs. And we survive that ordeal. But overall, pretty confident into turn 1, actually. On the brakes, around the outside, down the inside. Does not matter. We are getting you. We are taking that position from you. And now we're again behind Lewis Hamilton. A few of these drivers we did overtake, I think. Yeah, we definitely got Hamilton in the first stint, but now, thanks to the undercut that Hamilton got on us, we are now behind him again. We do have 1 lap fresher tyres, but it's not going to make that much of a difference. It definitely won't make a difference if we're thinking about turn 1 and the speed we can carry down the straight, through the first corner, claim that apex. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next weekend. Very decent race so far. P7, lap 19 of 25. We are absolutely coming for this victory. The leader is no longer running away, by the way. There was that Ferrari early on that was kind of, yeah, leading by example, really setting the pace. But now I think it must be Max Verstappen in the lead. Looking at it from the mini-map at the bottom left, it's definitely a Red Bull looking at the very front of the train. But now we're looking at Carlos Sainz, who was saving a bit of battery there. And again, easy does it around the outside. No lockups this time. Nice apex on that second corner and even through the third as well. You can just tell when we go into these races, later and later on in the races, are we going to do it? We're going to do it. We're going to do it. We're going to go around the outside of George Russell. Not really an overtaking spot, but we'll take it. He was just so slow, tucked up behind Alonso, and that promotes us to P5. And it's now lap 20. I forget what I was saying before, but if I remember, I'll come back to it. But now we've got Fernando Alonso in P4. Are we going to make an absolute huge dive bomb here? Yes, we are. Send it down the inside. We do lock up a little bit and bang wheels. Give him room on the inside there of turn 2 and claim turn 3 for ourselves. And yet, Verstappen did get himself into the lead. I think it's him and Charles Leclerc up ahead just now. They are having a bit of a ding-dong. You can see how close Leclerc is to pushing Verstappen cleanly around those corners, and just behind them I'm pushing Norris around those same corners, maybe about a second or less than a second behind them. Again, Norris going defensive. We're going to go to the outside there. He does panic a little bit in the braking zone, but we do make that overtake nice and clean. They have been enjoying diving out of the way of our car. Whether they're scared of us or respectful, I don't know. We'll let them decide, but I don't really care. We get the overtake done, and that is what matters. Now it looks like Leclerc's going to go for an overtake on Verstappen into turn 1. They're side by side. They're going to be really slow through this section. I'm going to take this very tight in turn 2 and maybe get a switch back on both cars in turn 3. Look at that move. Leclerc's all out of sorts under traction. We get the move done, and now we're going to size up Max Verstappen, who does not have DRS. We're going to go down the outside, but I'm actually thinking better of this. We're on lap 24 or 25. If we give Verstappen the DRS down the long pitch straight on the last lap, we can't win. If we give him the lead on this lap and we just stay close to him in sector 3 like we're doing right now, then we're going to get DRS down the long pitch straight and the sort of second dose of DRS as well. So we should be able to make the overtake work at some point. We only have 40% battery. Verstappen is probably going to have a lot more than that. We're actually a little bit far back. 8 tenths at the moment is the gap. And we're going to open up the DRS. Let the DRS do its job. Use a bit of the battery. Kind of pulse it a little bit just to maximize our thing. We're going to send it down the inside. Again, locking up and banging wheels similar to what we did with Fernando Alonso. Leave a bit of a gap on the inside, but Verstappen gives that one up pretty easily. We were very, very aggressive there in that overtake. But again, we have to make those moves if we want the positions. If we want to win, we go massively deep there as well. Essentially just a bit of excitement kind of coming over us as we're leading on the last lap. It's the first time in this race we've been in the lead, and it happened on the last lap. We couldn't have timed this better. Verstappen has Leclerc for company behind him. He will have DRS on us during this last final DRS zone. That's right now. We've got a bit of battery to use here. We're going to put into overtake just to defend. Tip it in. Try not to be too aggressive here on the curbs. Try and take the car home, but crucially keep Verstappen behind. So we're going to park the bus just through here. And we're going to enter the final corner of the Mexico City Grand Prix in the lead. An overtake for the lead on the last lap for victory.
Yes, 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 guys, yes! Come on, boys! Ah, fantastic drive. That's just fantastic. Amazing. You deserved that race win. Well done, mate.
We did deserve that race win. We worked very hard for that win from P18 on the grid.
It's victory in Mexico then. And what a victory it is after an incredible Grand Prix.
And that's 2 wins in a row now. It's the start of potentially something special, but they can't get ahead of themselves just yet. There's a long way to go.
Welcome then to the podium, our top 3 drivers. What a great effort from them today in a very difficult race.
Indeed, pretty difficult race for us, but generally we did pretty well making those overtakes and being decisive with the overtakes as well. And that really is the key that gave us victory. And what could be the key to give you victory is a click on the subscribe button. It will help me out massively, and honestly the support from the last video has been absolutely insane. We will be back every single week with more F1 24 My Team videos, so hit the subscribe button now.
Well, what an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
Indeed, you will. Crofty took a bit of a break for the start. Let me know how you guys think I did with the kind of croftiness of it. But obviously we took the win. Verstappen, then Leclerc, Norris, Russell, Sainz, Hamilton, Perez, Piastri, Stroll, Gasly, Albon, Tsunoda, Ocon, Magnussen, Pourchaire, Ricciardo, Hülkenberg, Zhou Guanyu, Logan Sargent, Valtteri Bottas, and Fernando Alonso with the DNF that we didn't see, but it did happen. Verstappen taking the lead again, continuing his lead in the drivers. We're down here potentially looking to make a challenge on Sergio Perez with our recent performances, and our teammate Logan Sargent needs to be doing better than this. We do have our eyes on a few drivers in the driver market. But for the constructors, P6, again, I don't think we're going to get to Aston Martin, but yeah, if they DNF every race and suddenly Logan Sargent starts winning, that's another story. Highlights here for you now. Again, great race from us. I'm very happy with our recent performance. I think the circuits have suited our car in the nature of the long straights and DRS zones that they've been. I think we might struggle in somewhere like Qatar, but maybe not. Maybe I'm kind of, you know, underestimating our performance in some of the corners. We do have some good pace, but I think some of the very front runners do have better aero packages than ours, which again is to be expected. But yeah, our advantage is definitely the engine at the moment. But there we go. What a race. Mexican Grand Prix. You can see there making it 3 wide with Perez and Stroll. But yeah, I enjoyed that. I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you did, leave a like. Again, if you want to stay up to date every single week, hit the sub button, big red button below. Can't miss it. Thank you to everyone who is, yeah, just hanging out, giving me your ideas. Someone was mentioning in the comments about other drivers that we can look at for the driver market, and I have gone into the sort of driver market in the menus of the game to mark them as like a watch so that we can keep an eye on them. I do think we're going to have good budget for it as well, thanks to these performances. We're getting some good payouts from our sponsors. Again, because we're winning and stuff like that, they love it. And obviously they want to give us some money for it. But that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you next week. The next race is Brazil. It will hopefully, the video will come out a couple of days after the actual Brazilian Grand Prix. It is a sprint weekend as well, so we're going to have a double dose of racing, which is going to be very exciting. So yeah, if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and let me know who you think I should look at in the driver market. We're probably going to have about 8 million, I want to say. 8 to 10 million, so we're going to have a good chunk of change. But obviously, we need to make sure we get someone who is actually worth it and not just splash the cash for no reason at all. But that's it. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all next week for the Brazilian Grand Prix.